Charity Keener is not just a fellow Arkansas native. She's also on a mission to help ease the strain on a very overtaxed foster care system. Her heart and a passion for Arkansas's children makes her tonight's Huck's hero.
In Arkansas, there are 4,444 kids in foster care, and we only have 1,500 foster homes.
One of the highest meth problems in the nation is right here, so unfortunately that causes some serious problems for children who find themselves in a pretty dangerous, desperate situation.
It's so traumatic. You can just imagine if you're a kid, you're being jerked away from your parents, you're being placed with strangers. They're going to be taken care of, but invariably, every kid wants to be with their parents.
And the hardest thing to do would be to find a location where that child could thrive or even exist for a while, because there weren't very many places.
A lot of times they do not have supplies. Their clothing they may not have except what they got to wear out of their house. Our community has come together to provide extra for those students who come in our school.
DHS does the best to try to keep the kids together, but a lot of times we'll see sibling groups that are removed. I've had them as much as 8 kids in a sibling group removed at one time.
And that's why projects like the House of Hope are so important. The purpose of the House of Hope is to enable people to foster. This will provide a home for them rent-free so that children can remain in a stable home within their own community.
And that's what was such a big part of Charity's vision, was keeping the family together, because sometimes when they have nothing but each other, just having that means a lot.
Charity is the founder and president of Restoration Conferences. And we want to say thank you, Charity, for being here tonight. So happy to have you in the work that you're doing. What is the personal connection that you have, and why does it matter so much to you about these foster kids?
Well, Governor, I was never personally in foster care, but I should have been. It's just that no one realized the situation that I was in. I was in a home where drugs and alcohol were prevalent, prostitution, promiscuity, abuse like many can never imagine. I was beaten till blood ran down my legs. I've seen guns held to people's heads, people shot at, drug use at the kitchen table. And I relate to these kids.
You've started an organization where kids have an opportunity to be in a home where they're safe,
Yes.
and where they're loved. 2 things that every child ought to have. I can't imagine that anybody would disagree. I don't care what your politics are. Everybody says a kid ought to be safe and ought to be loved.
Absolutely.
So tell me about the home, because that's one of the big needs you have, is to get the funds to finish this home.
This is a first-of-its-kind project. It has never existed anywhere. And the first need is to finish the work. And obviously this year has been very difficult.
Yeah.
It's been difficult to gather volunteers because of COVID. And then, of course, my mom was on a ventilator, my adoptive mom, who was my pastor. That's another reason for all of this. She rescued me from an abusive situation. She was on a ventilator, and I've been taking care of her. And then, of course, we host events to raise money to finish the work, and that hasn't been an option.
Yeah.
So the home is first and foremost, and then we need a Boys and Girls Club in our region to help take care of kids after school and such. We need a home for kids who have aged out of care. So there are so many needs that will completely turn our situation for our community around.
You know, the reason we wanted you to be our Huck's hero tonight is because we really appreciate the fact that you are doing something in your own community. It's not something that's happening way off somewhere. It's happening where you live, and people are in desperate need of what you're doing. And Charity, thank you for sharing. Thank you for letting us put a spotlight, and I hope people across America will join in helping you. Now, if you'd like updates on Charity's mission, if you want to donate and help finish the House of Hope, I'm sure Charity would be thrilled to hear that. Here's what you do. You visit restorationconferences.org.